Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, from the state, better known as California. Now, normally, I would say at this point that we all know that I do not do this program alone, but as you can see, well, I am alone once again. Mike is once again flying the friendly skies over the southeast somewhere, doing his thing. So unfortunately, he was not able to be here for the program today. He will be sorely missed, but hey, you and I will have a good time this Thirsty Thursday nonetheless. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. I want to start off with Hitman Industries. That's right, Hitman Industries. If you own an AR-15, especially a newer AR-15, there's a good chance that you already have one of their barrels in your firearm. So here's the deal. Why not, just in case you don't, or if you don't, check them out. Because check this out. Hitman Industries sells all sorts of various different firearm parts and accessories. It's a great place to go. It's a great website. Just go to hitmanindustries.net. That's hitmanindustries.net. Check them out. And trust me, you will definitely find some stuff there that you're going to want to purchase. Also, we have the California Republican Assembly, or as I like to call them, the Republican wing of the Republican Party in the state of California, fighting to elect conservatives from everything from dog catcher all the way up to governor of the state of California. So please check them out. If you're in the state of California, or if you're not in the state of California, feel free to kick them down a donation nonetheless. Also, then if you are looking for tactical gear, I'm talking gloves, optics, boots, whatever it may be, they have it there at uscombatgear.com. That's right, uscombatgear.com. Check them out. It's the place to go. Now, the links for all of our sponsors, the links to their websites are in the description to this program. So all you got to do, go there, click on the link, check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them or donate some money to them, and make sure you let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Also, want to make sure you know that however you are partaking of the program, it is not the only way to partake of the program. Seeing as how we are always fighting the algorithms, we're doing everything possible to give you as many opportunities to watch and or listen to The Rundown as possible. So you'll find us on YouTube, you'll find us on Facebook, you'll find us on Twitter. You can find us on Rumble. You can find us on Opslens or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast in case you want to listen to the audio version of the program. So please do this. Like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. That's right. Like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and get into today's topics. Number one on the list. Oh, this is a big one because we know that the Bruen case was the case that actually originated or is turned on its head the anti-gun or the gun control movement. All of their efforts to take away our fundamental right to keep and bear arms has been severely undermined by the case of New York Rifle and Pistol v. Bruen. But that is not stopping the tyrants there in New York from doing whatever it is they think they can do, or they can't do it, but they're doing whatever the heck it is they can do in order to take away or violate our fundamental right to keep and bear arms. And here is an example. So Governor Hochul of New York has basically told police, in particular in New York City, that anyone carrying a firearm is presumed to be carrying it unlawfully until proven otherwise. So what she did was she sent out this memo, and that's this memo right here. And in this memo, specifically speaking, it's called the Legal Bureau Bulletin. And in this memo, they have a few key talking points, which she is pointing out to the folks there, to law enforcement in New York, in the city of New York. Now, let's read some of those points. Key points. Possessing a firearm in New York City requires a special license issued by the New York City Police Department. I guess that means that if you have a New York State permit, it does not allow you to carry in the city of New York. I did not know that to be the case. Generally, in most states, if you have a If you have a permit to carry in the state from one jurisdiction, it usually carries over to another or to all of the jurisdictions within that state. But I'm not from New York, and I am not a lawyer, so do not quote me on that. Also, carrying a firearm in New York City requires a concealed carry license issued by the New York City Police Department. Okay, so I guess the first one is possessing one in your home. So if you have one in your home, you need a license from New York City. That makes sense. But the second one, once again, I thought concealed carry permits, if they were issued by any municipality in the state of New York, that they would be covered under the state of New York. But, well, what do you know? Then we have, now this is the one that I'm getting at. Anyone carrying a firearm is presumed to be carrying unlawfully until proven otherwise. Now, folks, here in these United States, we have this thing called, the Constitution. And part of that Constitution is that we are, in fact, innocent until proven guilty. Meaning that someone cannot necessarily just presume that you are guilty of illegally carrying a firearm just because you are carrying a firearm. In fact, there was a case in Pennsylvania where that was the actual ruling. Now, I'm not sure if that was a state court or if that was a federal court, but it does speak to the point that, look, you cannot just assume that someone is breaking the law. You can inquire as to if they have a permit, but you are not allowed to assume that they are breaking the law if they may in fact be in compliance with the law. It's kind of like if you are sitting in your car and a policeman is not allowed to walk up to you and assume that you have stolen the car and require you to prove, and then thus requiring you to prove that that is your car. Or let's take it a step further. They are not allowed to come to your home and then make you prove that it is your home before they arrest you for trespassing. They're not allowed to require you to do that. But yet and still, that is in fact what the city of New York now has as a part of, well, this way. That is what the governor of the state of New York is now saying. Now, folks, what's funny is that they think that they're going to get all of these concealed carry permit holders, they think they're going to catch them up. But reality is the people who are going to wind up getting caught are those who are going to wind up having entanglements or engagements with the police, which basically is telling you, as we've already told you on this program, all statistics, all data will tell you, yeah, it generally tends to be young, black and brown males who tend to have more run-in with police. Those are the ones against whom these edicts are going to be implemented. Meaning, if you're young, black, and brown, and you're carrying a gun, don't matter if you had a permit, you are going to be treated like a criminal. Doesn't matter if you have a concealed carry permit, you will be treated like a criminal. By the way, that also goes to the fact that if you are white and or female, you too will be treated like a criminal. It's just, once again, according to the statistics and data, we'll call it the stata. Okay, according to the stata, you guys have fewer run-ins, so you're less likely to be treated as a criminal. Of course, if you're law-abiding, chances are, your chances of that happening are even less. But that, by the way, was information that came out of, that was put out there by Gun Owners of America. Great folks over there. If you're not a member of Gun Owners of America, you should make sure to check them out. They do some phenomenal work. But folks, let's just be real. They are doing everything possible to try and tie the idea that if you carry a firearm, you are a criminal. And by the way, this is nothing new. Very often, this is what is a part of standard law enforcement training. That you are a criminal, that you are a danger if you are an individual who does not have a badge and yet has a firearm. So part of the thing is this is going to require some real efforts at changing their thinking there in the NYC or in the state of New York or in law enforcement in general when it comes to firearms. For example, you have the mayor of New York basically saying that, this is going to stretch all of our resources. We are not going to be able we're not going to be able to handle all of these new gun crimes because people with concealed carry permits are going to be carrying firearms in the city of New York. Now, what's funny about this is I believe that they are conflating something. And what they are conflating is the individuals who are criminals who already do not comply with the law, who already break the law, who, by the way, are already carrying firearms, right? These are the people who are already carrying firearms. They're saying that now this is going to make it harder because more people are going to be carrying guns. Well, it doesn't change anything for those who are not licensed to carry. If you're not licensed to carry a gun, well, then it's not a problem, right? But if you are, if you are licensed to carry a gun, then it shouldn't be a problem. That's the only area where you're likely going to see an increase in people carrying firearms, is people who are legally licensed to carry. Because guess what? The criminals are already doing it. They're already carrying guns. What this means is, or what he probably means is, we're going to probably actually have to start having the police do their jobs. Oh my God. In other words, we're actually going to have to start arresting criminals. And by the way, if those criminals happen to be in possession of a firearm, and by the way, it's real simple. If someone is committing a crime, you go to arrest them. When you arrest them, if they are carrying a firearm and they do not have a permit to do so, a license to do so, they have broken the law again. I'm failing to see where this is difficult. Now, if you come across a law-abiding citizen and they are legally carrying a firearm, chances are you won't even know, right? Because if they're doing it, there's a reason why they call it concealed, folks. Just saying. There's a reason they call it concealed. It's because generally you don't know. I had a guy who sat on a school board with me. Before they made it illegal to carry on school grounds in California, even with a concealed carry permit, for years, I carried to every school board meeting. And I remember him saying, gee, I don't know if I feel comfortable being around people who have guns. And after almost a decade of serving on the board with him, I let him know, I said, you do know that every single time you've been around me, I've had a gun on me, right? And it really kind of got him to really kind of rethink it the other way, rethink his position. Because once again, by definition, if you are concealed carrying, people do not know that you are in possession of a firearm. And if you are a law-abiding concealed carry permit holder, then that means that concealed carrier, meaning you got your permit and you are not, you're not a threat. Anyway, so what this is saying is what this mayor is implying is that having a concealed carry permit, if you are a concealed carry permit holder, you are a threat to law, the law-abiding, and to law enforcement. And I really think he needs to reconsider his position on this particular thing because, it does not make him look good, not one little bit. Just to be honest with you. All right, now let's talk a little bit about energy policy. All right, we'll shift away from New York and guns. Now, much of the West has been experiencing, severe weather, severe heat. It started pretty much Sunday, and it's supposed to be going all the way through till Friday. Here in Sacramento, Monday, we broke a record with 116 degrees, which is, by the way, 20 degrees higher than the highest record on that day. But I believe it was, and I once again, you can message me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was the hottest day ever in Sacramento. It was 116. It was hot. Let me tell you, it was hot. It was like 12 years a slave hot. It was so hot. I was telling Mike the other day, I saw the devil sitting on the curb talking about, man, it's too hot up in here, man. I'm going to go back to hell and cool off. That's how hot it was. Now, mind you, this time of year, triple degree weather is not an oddity in Sacramento or in much of Northern California or in much of California for that matter. So one has to wonder how much more energy is utilized during that time. But one of the things that happened was Monday around, I believe it was around like 5:48. I'm at a restaurant and all of a sudden everyone's phone goes off with this big, huge, loud alert. And in the alert, it's I'm thinking, oh my God, we're under attack, or it's an Amber Alert, and a child is in danger or something like that. And I look and it says, California is experiencing extreme heat. Please turn off all unnecessary energy or conserve energy, or we will be threatened with rolling blackouts. Now, I'm going to go back to you again. Mind you, it gets triple degrees. What's funny is that other than the days where we've had 100-degree weather, it's been actually a relatively mild summer, at least in Sacramento. But in a lot of California, it's been relatively mild. But the question here is, why? Why all of a sudden are we dealing with these rolling blackouts, right? Are we not creating enough? I mean, you would think that we would be able to create enough energy. I mean, especially since we've gotten all these new solar plants and wind plants, and we're pushing people to get solar at their homes or at their businesses. You would think that we would not have an issue with power generation. Well, guess what, folks? We most assuredly do. Now, what this article goes on to point out is that the problem is not heat, right? There's not a significantly more or significant difference in the amount of energy that is utilized on a 108 or 106 degree day than is on a 110 degree day or 115 degree day. There's not a lot of difference. Where the difference comes in is how much energy we have available in the state of California. Now, what they've done is they're getting away from coal and gas generated. They're pushing us away from those forms of energy and pushing us towards solar and wind. Now, here's the problem. So if it's over 100 degrees, how much wind do you think is being generated? How much of these energy do you think these wind farms are creating in 100-degree weather? I'm going to tell you almost none. Now, if there are wildfires and there's the solar panels are being blocked out from the sun, that also is going to diminish the amount of energy that is being created, right? That is being created by solar. So what you see is a decrease on days where we need the most energy. You see a decrease in energy from those renewable sources. As well as, guess what? We're in a drought. Now, while hydroelectric is not considered renewable energy, I don't know why it's not, but that is also affected because guess what? You don't have water going through the dams. You don't have water creating energy. Less hydroelectric. So that leaves us with gas and coal. Well, if we're moving away from that and we're stopping access to those plants in California, well, guess what then we have to do? We then have to go out of the state in order to purchase energy. And by the way, many of these states are doing the same dumb thing that policymakers here in the state of California are doing. They're getting away from coal. They're getting away from natural gas. And so they're now starting to experience rolling blackouts because we're buying up their energy. So that's what's causing the rolling blackouts. It's energy policy. It ain't the heat. That's why here you have in California, it's like a third world country. We're like the Haiti of the United States. It gets too hot. We can't keep the lights on. It rains too much. We can't keep the lights on. All of that can be tied to our energy policy, to Gavin Newsom, to Jerry Brown, to the members, to the Democrat-controlled state legislature, to the California Air Resources Board, all of them. That is why we are experiencing a challenge with energy and energy production. Oh, I forgot to mention, blame Biden too, because he's right there. Him and the Democrat-controlled House and Senate. It's on all of them because it is their policies that are causing us to have these issues relating to our energy, right? So, for those of you, I know that there are those of you out there who don't want to hear that, but guess what? It be the truth, and nothing but the truth. I'm just saying. All right, and finally, today's story. Those of you who have been watching, Queen Elizabeth II has died today at 96 years old. I've always thought it's been interesting, the fascination that we here in the United States seem to have with the royal family. Whether it's the youngins, William and Harry and Angela Merkel and all of these folks. It's funny how we have this fascination with them. But I really believe that to a certain degree, the traditions and the old school role of the monarchy, as we see it, kind of the drama of the monarchy, is going to basically pass away, I believe, with Queen Elizabeth. You already have, from what I understand, Prince Charles has basically said, led people to believe he doesn't want to be king. So then it's going to fall to his sons. Anyway, none of that is news. Just to say that it just seems like such a significant thing in the news today that it just seemed like it would have been really, really remiss not to mention it. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it. All right. Now we are going to get on to the parting shot. Today's parting shots. Oh, these are some fun ones. Now, this first one, this is in honor of Governor Hochul, the governor of the state of New York. Many of you probably saw the show where we talked about how in a legal brief, the state of New York basically said, well, we used to, by the way, what they're talking about in terms of defending their good character policy, if you recall, New York Rifle and Pistol v. Bruin dealt with, it basically outlawed the good cause policy. So now the only thing left, the only way in which they have to have discretion or to discriminate against people has to do with a good moral character, right? So normally what that would mean is that would just mean background check. So you do a background check. If you're able to legally own or possess a firearm, you got no felonies. Sometimes I'll take it a little bit further. Hey, as long as you haven't, there's nothing out there on social media where you're threatening people or anything like that, then you'll be okay. You'll get your license. Well, now they've expanded it to a bunch of stuff in order, once again, to determine people's moral character. And in the case where people were going after them, where the state was being called out for this, they said, well, it's okay to discriminate against people. I mean, back in the day, they used to discriminate against Protestants, against Native Americans, right? They used to discriminate, basically, well, we all also know in California, they used to discriminate against Chinese, against black people. We know that, against Mexicans. But what this particular thing points out is that this is how we stand. So in the top image, you have a number, you have 4 Native Americans, all of which are holding rifles. It says history, don't trust the government. And then the bottom part of it, you have Governor Hochul. It says the government. Historically, disarming Native Americans proves you can disarm people for being immoral. And that, my friends, is pretty much the argument that the state of New York made as they tried to defend their new concealed carry policy. That meme comes to us by way of the Firearms Policy Coalition. So FPC, thank you so much for sharing that meme. That is phenomenal. The next one has to do with our stories today on the rolling blackouts and our energy policy here in the state of California. And I believe this pretty much says it all. You're looking here at a surge protector, because we got to, protect that surge, make sure, they don't get too much of a surge. And it's got the surge protector plugged into itself. And that is how they're going to obtain energy from itself. Anyway, kind of dumb, as you can see, doesn't work, and it never will. And thus, we in the state of California, well, let's just say we're kind of in the dark when it comes to our energy policy. Once again, for those of you listening, it is a meme. It is a picture of the California flag. The flag is kind of dark, and you've got the bear that is on the flag sitting there with a flashlight. So it is, like I said, more than a little humorous. Very much appreciate whoever put that meme together. All right. Well, folks, hey, before we get going, we want to make sure to give another shout out to our sponsors. We just want to make sure to thank the folks over at Hitman Industries. You can find them at hitmanindustries.net. Also, the folks at California Republican Assembly. You can find them at cragop.org. And then there's uscombatgear.com. Please, folks, visit them, spend money with them. Let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. That is going to be it for today's episode. As you can see, we're ending a little early today because we obviously did not include the ramblings of one Mike Piwowarski, but he should be back with us tomorrow. So for those of you who are missing him, don't miss him. He'll be back. Or you can just bug him on Facebook. Give him a comment. Say hello. Say what's up. But in any case, we will be back tomorrow. So until then, please make to like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. Hasta mañana. We'll see you tomorrow on Freeback Friday.